Hello students, welcome back. This week we are going to finish our sketch from last week where you either could draw along with me to do the unicorn or the markers, or you could have created your own sketch. So now that we have finished that, we're going to go ahead and add as many elements of art to it as we can. I bet you can add 7, no problem. So the very first step is to outline in black or any dark color you want. And go ahead and make sure you're careful, especially if you're using markers, because you know it will be permanent once you put it down. So that's why we did our sketch before, so we know where our lines go. And you can even adjust your outline. If you decide you don't like the sketch as much as you did before, you can change it with this outline. Now, notice the name of what this step is, outline. That is actually one of the elements of art, isn't it? Line. Different types of lines. And we will have other opportunities to do more types of lines when we finish our drawing. So even if you're not doing one of my drawings like I mentioned before, make sure you are outlining your drawing, your sketch, before we finish our elements of art. I have all kinds of lines here, lots of curved lines. I create organic shapes. Okay, in just a minute I'm going to speed up this video a little bit because I'm sure you'll be working at your own pace and even on a different drawing perhaps, so you might not even need to be looking at it. Go ahead and do outline, and then the next step will be to erase the pencil lines left behind that did not get an outline. And you'll see me do that as well in just a few moments. Let's add a horizon line with a ruler because my horizon line is going to be straight and I want to keep it straight, and I'm going to use a ruler. If your horizon line is something like mountains in the background or something that isn't straight, you don't have to use a ruler. But I'm going to line it up nice. And something I want to mention to you about this horizon line, it is creating the illusion of space. And that means we are dividing up our paper so that you have a background. The things behind the unicorn are the things now at the above that line, and then you have a foreground, the things in front, like the unicorn statue or whatever it is that you drew. So we just divided up our paper and created a spatial element. It's so cool. So we did line, we did space, and here I am erasing all those pencil lines. So one little trick about this is make sure you hold your paper down nice and firmly with the opposite hand you're not using to erase with, so your paper doesn't slide around and accidentally tear. Go ahead and spend some good time making sure you get all those little ghost pencil lines erased. And stay tuned. Okay, that's about it for erasing. Now I'm ready for some value. That is one of the elements of art, and I'm going to use colored pencils. You may use a regular pencil, graphite pencil, or you could even use paint if you have that at home. So I'm using a light purple and a dark purple, and I might even use this darker brown, but I'm going to create a gradient, light to dark, on my unicorn. Now, before I do that, I need to make sure I know where my light source is. Look, I just put that lion eraser there to represent the sun or the moon or maybe a lamp. And wherever is closest to that light source is going to be lighter. It'll be lighter tint. And then the space that is furthest away will be a little bit darker. So whether you're doing a unicorn or materials in that container or who knows what, a cactus, I don't know what you decided to draw, but make sure you do add value on your subject. And add a light source so you know what area will be lighter with lighter pressure, and then what area will be darker with darker, harder pressure. Remember how we did it before in our previous projects? So go ahead and use that previous knowledge and add value to your subject. If your subject is itsy bitsy tiny for some reason and the value is not working out so well, you can also add value on your background or in your background or on your foreground. Make sure you add it in one place at least, so that way you can say you've added value from the 7 elements of art to this drawing. And you'll see how I've done that gradient. The back of the unicorn is light with light pressure, and then the underside of the unicorn is darker, as if the light isn't touching it as much. It's created a shadow underneath the unicorn. And that is why it's darker. So let's go ahead and make sure it looks nice. I'm going to go back over and really make sure it has a nice gradient so I can see the different levels, like a light, a medium, and a dark. And sometimes you can get multiple levels out of that gradient. But go ahead and practice doing that for a little while and make sure it's a nice gradient. I'm even going to add a darker purple. In some of the areas, like on the underbelly and on the legs where there isn't much light touching, I'm going to use a darker purple to give it even more of a darker shade. You'll see that in just a moment. And you can experiment with different colors. You can layer different colors. And you can even use your eraser if you accidentally make something too dark. Like if the back of my unicorn was too dark, I could erase to not lighten it up. And here I go. I'm going to show you how to do that. You can even erase if you're using color pencils if you kind of colored outside of the lines. And I'm going over the back of the unicorn here just to make it a little bit lighter. And I'm even going over the middle value too, so that it just looks a little bit lighter. The eraser is a handy tool when you're creating value with colored pencils or regular pencils. Okay, so I'm going to even out that color gradient. And now for my darker purple, it's a blue violet. Or no, it's just violet. Okay, so do you see here I'm adding one more dark layer, and it gives it more dimension. It makes our form, it makes our shape become a form, whether that shape is organic, like this unicorn being an organic shape, or perhaps you did more of a geometric shape, like that rectangular container that those markers were in. And I cannot wait to see what kind of subjects you've chosen. If you've chosen your own subject, way to go. I'm so proud of you for trying to draw something either from your imagination or from real life. Okay, so you can really see the gradient, the light, medium, and the dark colors here. I'm going to be working on that, just making sure it's all nice and smooth. And then I'll be adding some more colors after my gradient is about right. And I'm pretty happy. I'm almost done with my purple unicorn body. But of course, you can pause the video as much as you need if you are still working on your value when I finish. Oh, and if you are doing the same drawing, don't forget to do the inside of the ear a little bit darker because it does have a shadow in there. So don't forget the ear. Okay. I think this is about ready for... I can't wait to do the hair. The hair's next. Okay. So you can see here, I'm just sort of tidying this up. I'm adding a darker shade underneath, like where those legs definitely wouldn't get any light touching them. Now I'm going to switch to different colors for the unicorn and the hair. And you can see here I'm doing a light tint, which would be the area where the light is touching it. And then I'm going to add a darker shade, this dark brown, under the tint because it's a little further from the light. So the unicorn's hair wouldn't be bright everywhere, right? It would have a darker shade. And that is what this dark color, this brown, is doing for us. And you, again, your subject may be different. So you can add color value wherever it is you would like to add it. Now, like I said before, you really only needed it on one part of your drawing. So if you did the body of your subject already with value and you don't want to do the value anymore, color value anymore, that's fine. You only need to do it in one spot. I'm going to finish the unicorn though with all color value so that it does look more like a 3D form. Okay, so you can see here I'm doing the same thing I've done to the unicorn and to the hair here to the base of this statue. So it's light on the left where it would be closest to that light source, and it's darker on the right. Now, something that really helps make this look like a three-dimensional form is adding a shadow. Now let's think, if the light hits it on the left, there would be a shadow created on the right. So you can add a shadow, and it can be a funny looking shaped shadow. It doesn't have to be exactly like your subject. Do you see how mine is a little bit different? Now this is faster, but I just wanted to show you can keep adding different layers. You can add another darker, that is the blue violet I was referring to before, darker color. You can layer it as much as you want if you're using colored pencils and really make that color pop. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some pattern, which is another element of art, here on the tabletop to sort of represent wood. And then I'm going to use this brown colored pencil and give it texture, which is another element of art. Now, circle here would be the shape element of art I'm representing. You can trace a circle. It depends on your drawing and where you want your shapes, but add some basic shapes to your drawing somewhere. If you haven't already, you may have already done that. Like in the other drawing with the markers, there are some ovals and rectangles in that drawing already. This one has more organic freeform shapes, so I'm definitely going to make sure I'm tracing to create some just basic geometric shapes. Like the circles here, they are half circles because they go off the page. I'm going to go ahead and add another geometric shape, crescent, to represent the moon. You could also do a sun. You can really just add any shapes you want. It's all based on your drawing and your own design if you'd like to change things. Okay, so I just made like a fun sort of light ray coming off the unicorn horn here by tracing that circle with blue, and now I'm going to go over it with some yellow. Okay, so I have done shapes, except I do want to add a moon crescent, so I'm going to show you how to do that if you want to do that. Using the small circular tracer, I flipped it upside down, so I'm tracing the bottom, which is a smaller circle. I'm only tracing half of it to create that almost semicircle. But instead of connecting the two lines, let's see if you can see through this cup okay. I'm bringing the small circle tracer a little bit further out. See there? And then I traced it again to connect those lines with a curved line. And you don't have to use a tracer to make a crescent either. It's just a fun
I'm going to be
way.
finished.
It's kind of like a fun trick
background
to make
now.
your crescent look nice.
I'm going to add some more light coming off of the moon with this yellow. I will leave a little bit of white paper in the background.
And I really want to add some stars and some mountains. First, I'm going to do some zigzags for mountains. This is also representing space, those mountains. All right. And some stars in the background. They're hard to see, but they're yellow. And there we go. Now, let's see if we can identify the 7 elements of art in our drawing, or a different drawing you might have done. I cannot wait to see what you've made, everyone. Great job on your 7 elements of art. Please submit your finished artwork to me in Schoology. Thank you, everyone.